Welcome back, Disc Golf World. This is Central Coast Disc Golf. We are here for the 2023 Grip Equipment Kansas City Wide Open presented by Dynamic Discs. We're here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am Connor O'Reilly, joined in the booth by Nathan Queen himself, and I'll be seeing him on the course later today. What's up, Nathan?
Yeah, we get to play the first round together in a while. Happy to be out here at this Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series event. You see Joseph Anderson has a 4-stroke lead over the field. Sullivan Tipton, Robert Burridge, and Gannon Buhr is who we're going to be watching today. Gannon just 5 strokes off, so lots of room to move out here.
Gannon birdied the final 7 holes round 1 to make him or keep himself on this Central Coast covered card. And we're starting off with a beast of a par 4. Not the longest at 575 feet, plays well down the hill, but a lot of out of bounds here. A lot of players will play a slower disc, maybe a 9-speed, chip a hyzer over to this left grassy area here. That's the safer play. If you want to rip on a driver and try to get to the wood chips up here on the left, you can maybe take a jump putt, eagle stab at it. In the right winds, eagle is on the table, but this green is so small, it makes it really hard to put the approach close. Oftentimes you find yourself putting back at the water from down the hill.
This is the lead card at 325 in the second round of the Kansas City Wide Open. First up, representing Castleclass from Athens, Georgia, shooting a smoking 13 down yesterday, Joseph Anderson.
And Joseph Anderson, I believe one of his nicknames may be Joey Buckets.
I was getting ready to say it, Nathan.
Out here, 13 down, clean round, which is just incredible out here. Very hard to stay out of trouble the entire 18 holes.
I'm sure many of you don't know Joseph. Very clean game. 3rd highest rated player in the event, I believe. So he has the game. Backhand, forehand. He's got a solid hyzer putt. When he's making it, he can definitely score, as he showed in round 1. Safe layup shot there.
Second on the box, representing Discraft. He's 9 under par after the first round from Indian Springs, Alabama, Sullivan Tipton.
Yeah, another player likely new for you guys watching. Sullivan has a lot of game as well. Player out of Alabama. Just kind of started popping up on the tour the last 2 years. And I don't know, call me foolish for saying this, but I was chatting a little bit about this course. I think as much pressure as there already is to win on the tour, and as much pressure mentally as this course puts on a lot of the shots, I feel like you'd almost want to be the leader after round 2 and only have to wear that badge for about 1 round, Nathan. You know, I think it's the stress of trying to lead for 2 rounds out here it's gonna be tough.
Right, trying to follow up that clean round. Like I was saying, that's pretty impressive to do in the first place, let alone get 13 birdies behind it. So I could see that sneaking in late. Robert Burridge jumped out a little bit last year, Des Moines Challenge, got in a playoff with Simon Lizotte, hung around at a couple events towards the leaderboard, and has been a lot more consistent this year, so going to be fun to watch his round today. He is getting more aggressive. I think he's going for the wood chips on the left here.
Yeah, Robert's full send in this one, a lot of power, pin high here on hole 1.
And I believe that is the best way to get a birdie. Very hard green to approach.
Yeah, if you can jump putt here, you're...
Prodigy Discs from Urbandale, Iowa. He's 8 under par after breaking hole 12 yesterday.
Yeah, even when you land short of that bush where the first 2 players landed, your approach is still difficult as it drops off behind it pretty quickly.
Yeah, only about a bullseye's width up there on top of the shelf on the green there. Everything else kind of drops below. And yeah, like you said, Robert been playing a lot more consistent this year. He's found himself in the top 25 a number of times, and yeah, he's really showing off his well-rounded game. Gannon needs no introduction.
And just made it look easy. Easy power, gone a little bit too far, but still shouldn't have a whole lot to work with. I would rather be there than in the short landing zone.
Yeah, we'll see whether he has to go around on the land side or chips a little shot over the water. We know Gannon can putt from 200 feet, so power is not an issue for that kid.
Oh, and then,
Oh,
what a great bid for the eagle there. But like we were talking about from back that way, it's a little difficult to land right on that island. You've got to get over that wall You've kind of got to throw a stally shot, but it makes it scary. You could still come up short even with a stall shot.
Sullivan checks right at the basket, and there you see, finds himself step inside the circle, putting back at the water. Purple A2 for Gannon. I feel like every time I see him pull that disc out, I just assume he's going to get up and down at this point, Nathan.
Yeah, that was a pretty tight gap. He was able to hit it well, so I think you're right.
Obviously, this is a pretty easy one, but throughout the course of his career, I feel like he's been very consistent with that approach disc.
And the best position of them all, Robert Burridge going to get himself a bullseye birdie on the first hole.
Yeah, didn't get greedy, taking his birdie. Very smart.
Also not getting greedy, Joseph Anderson going to lay up for his par. Yeah, and a nice putt there for birdie. Probably 26 feet, but a lot of water behind it.
It's one of those putts you don't want to start your round on, but once you make it, it can definitely help build some confidence.
Yeah, so this did play as the third easiest hole on the course today. Wind a little bit down for the majority of the day, so people able to play their layup shots better. 39% of the field able to card the birdie.
Yeah, I really like hole one. As we mentioned yesterday, I think whether you want to play for eagle or you want to play for par, you have to execute on the first.
That will move us into hole 2, a 204-foot par 3. Gotta hit this man-made gap here with the telephone poles. Everything outside of this island does play as a hazard. Now down short, you see these DD signs. That little area there is also in bounds, which was very helpful for me the first day. But either way, the little 200-foot shot does play uphill. Although there is wind once you get out of the gap, you shouldn't see it affect things too much. Just throw your straight shot, or you can throw a high flex shot if you don't feel like hitting the gap.
Yeah, this is one of those holes that really, the wind can help make it a lot harder. Without any wind, though, these players really looking to attack and put it close here.
And Sullivan using those rocks to stop him. He's going to be in bounds.
Robert playing the up the middle flex.
Oh, man.
He flashes right in front of the bucket.
Little standstill there from Gannon. And great control. He's going to tap in a birdie.
Joe going with that Recco. Possibly a Recco X right at it. And yeah, puts it just at the base of the hill, right where you want to be. Ideally, you land just on the short side of the hill here. You don't want to crest that hill. It's a little scary.
Yeah, there is one spot on the back where there's a stone gone, so you could actually sneak through there if you're too low.
Yeah, I'd like to see the positioning of that gap kind of readjusted. It feels a little over-punishing for those shots that are on line, but at a good height.
I think you could just put a stone there. I don't know that you need one.
We can climb over them, you guys.
Sullivan and Robert able to connect for their birdies there.
We'll have a likely birdie frame here on the second, as all these players are looking to do.
Yeah, 53% of the field carding the birdie today.
Kind of crazy that this one doesn't play as the easiest, but with those hazard rulings, I think the hole is almost not playing correctly right now to me. It needs to be an out-of-bounds island, I think. It's just a little over-punishing if you don't hit the gap. And here we are on the third. Very dichotomous hole. 605 feet. First shot is going to be the shorter out of the two by quite a bit. Hit one of these gaps and get anywhere out into the open and you will be happy. We see forehand rollers. We see back right-hand forehands here. Really a gambit of shots on this tee shot. And then second shot slopes right to left gently coming into this green. So whether you want to play the big wide power hyzer, come in with a forehand that matches the slope, or if you're left-hand player, that backhand comes in nice. You want to put it close and try to get your birdie here on hole 3.
Yeah, it can be pretty difficult to design a good par 4 where your first tee shot only goes about 200 feet, but I like this one pretty. I think this is a pretty good hole. Last year I heard that this top left gap was not there, so I don't like that. But now that top left gap is there, This is pretty well designed, you know. It leaves you a tough 400-foot, 380-foot shot.
Gannon going for the backhand cut soft roller. Just clears the stuff, but he's going to be a little more pinched to the left than he would like.
Yeah, I think he's got enough hyzer power. He should be able to still reach the green if he chooses to. And that almost was great.
Yeah, it looked like Joe and Sullivan were getting a little aggressive, playing slower forehand, trying to kind of bend it to the left the whole way, get a little less distance into the green. You see a lot of players kind of just go flat, overstable, being okay with finishing out right anywhere in the open.
Very far back here, going to go for a layup to where the FPO pin is at, but he has just pulled that.
Yeah, he just flattened out on that. Didn't give it the height or the wing angle.
Oh, yeah, Gannon is a little bit more pinched off than I thought he was.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell. I thought he also might have something to work with, but shows some maturity there. Robert, really good combo player, has the forehand, has the backhand. This looks to have a little less angle than he wanted out of the hand.
Oh, but he placed it nicely. Lands in that walkway up to the green. He's going to be inside circle 2. Inbounds, though. That's a big deal on this second shot.
Sullivan looks like a good width and angle. Can he get the check skip? Yeah, puts it right on that bullseye whisker. Well played hole. Sullivan looking to start with the turkey.
And Gannon, after the layup play, has pulled it over to the left just a bit.
That was scary. He really tested that left side.
Yeah, there's a little bit of right to left today. Maybe headwind, right to left.
Nice.
So that wind could have pushed that a little bit. Nice approach there from Anderson, trying to get up and down for his bogey now after that OB second shot.
Yeah, good recovery for our current leader, but an even start through 3 while some of his card mates are cruising is going to start making that pressure ratchet up.
Gannon very solid on the green yesterday and going to continue that today. Able to get his first par of the round here on hole 3. Which did play as the hardest hole on the course today.
Really?
Averaging at a 4.59. There was 55% of the field with bogey or above, and we only had 21 players card the birdie.
Very surprising to me.
Sullivan Tipton, one of those birdies here. Like you said, able to start his round with a turkey. Yeah, I saw your little hyzer shot park job, so I understand why it's surprising to you.
It is one that leaves you oftentimes over 400 feet in, and you got to have a lot of trust, a lot of power to get there. And here we see Joseph slipping a little bit. Sullivan, one back.
Hey, Mom. Yeah, we're in Liberty. We had an amazing time. Yeah, I'll send you some photos now. The facilities were great, and the weather was gorgeous. You'd be so proud. They played hard. We got great food afterwards and went through a museum. Of course, they wanted a treat, and they wore themselves out at the pool. It's been a really great weekend. You'll have to join us next time.
Moving into hole 4, 835-foot par 4. Lots of elevation change on this shot. If you got, ideally for the best distance, you're going to go righty backhand kind of hyzer flip shot that can drift down all the way past this hay bale to the bottom, maybe even get you on that other side. Forehand towards those trees you saw out of the gap and then fade late just before it is going to be a good play as well. Second shot, you're still going to have 350 feet most of the time if you throw a great drive. And got a couple options. You can flex one, righty backhand to land into that hill, or you can swing a wide hyzer around. And this is a beautiful tee shot here. It's exactly how you draw up that forehand.
Yeah, Sullivan showing he has a strong forehand. Like you said, oftentimes players find themselves either 350 to 400, 450 out on this one, playing strong mid-range or straight fairway shot.
Burridge going with that hyzer flip shot, but with a mid-range, it looked like. He wasn't going for huge distance, but got a lot of distance anyway.
And like you mentioned, with that elevation change, I think the mid just holds the line so nicely. If you give it the speed and give it the height, it's just going to keep drifting.
Yeah, and this looks great from Gannon. It's going to cut just in front of that tree. Not a big skip there, but he's going to have flat footing probably in that 380 to 400 foot range there.
And yeah, players looking to throw forehand here, you need just a little bit of flatness, maybe just a second of flex out of the hand. You don't want to come out pure hyzer here.
This might be pushing a little straight. He did fall in front of those trees, but might have a little tricky footing in a branch.
Yeah, hard to tell if those branches are in his... Yeah, they are in front of his lie. Birdie's kind of off the table for Joseph here.
Yeah, decision to make whether to... Nope, he is going to go across this valley. Great standstill power there.
For sure. Line was on, too. I feel like if he had more height, he almost could have given himself a long putt. Strong mid-range shot out of Buhr here, looking to hit it hard and flat.
Yeah, and it's holding its drift nicely. He's to check up, and it does check up before the OB. We
got to move that stool, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, he did miss that stool there. That's a interesting placement.
Ideally, we can have all of our things out of bounds in ways that they are not so close to the line that they also affect the shots coming back in. But we appreciate everyone out here helping out and coming to watch us play. Little inside for Burridge, not quite the power he needed. Very makeable uphill putt, though.
Yeah, it went slow enough that he didn't get a big skip down to the right. So a long birdie bid here after that standstill second, but able to get it up and down nicely. As you saw there, just 15% of the field able to get the birdie on this one. I think just the elevation change, it's really hard to get that second shot exactly how you want it. And it's if you don't get level with the basket, you've either got a pretty severe uphill or downhill putt.
Yeah. Sullivan finds himself in circle 2 after the pitch forehand roller. He'll be first to putt.
And looks like he's going to give back one of those birdies that he got to start the round. Gannon trying a two-stroke swing on the card.
Yeah, when Gannon's standing above the basket, they just look so tiny.
Yeah, it probably makes it feel like that basket's pretty small, too. It feels small when I'm up there, and he's about a foot taller than I am. So
Burridge, middle, strong, gets it to drop. Good birdie putt for Robert. He feels good about it, as he should.
Yeah, 3 down through 4, great start.
I feel like you find these first 4 holes, you can really kind of get a good start going, and these next couple are definitely kind of where the course starts to ratchet up a little bit, and you got to play quite a bit cleaner shots to score birdies. You really get into the woods starting on hole 5 for a couple holes. And hole 5, one of our favorite holes on the course. I'm just going to say it, Nathan, because I think it is yours, right? You know?
You're right.
Yeah, I know. Par 4, 624 feet. This thing is just a beautiful piece of landscape for a disc golf hole. This right side that the drone's flying is going to be the less commonly taken play. I've only really seen local players take this gap. Most players taking that wide left side, power forehand, left hand backhand. Either way, you want to be somewhere up on top of the hill, giving yourself options into the green. There's hyzer shots over the pond, also a big high spike hyzer over that route, and then off to the left side there's a couple wooded gaps that can lead you to the basket. Really good birdie to pick up, but a tough one.
Yeah, I've put myself in position off of the tee both days, but still been unable to get the birdie. So 2 great shots here needed. Burridge gets a little sneaky through there, but it looks like he is going to be up towards the top of the hill. We'll see how close he is to that tree line.
Yeah, it looks like obstructed stance. If he's 10 feet right of there, he probably has a really good chance at birdie, but going to be difficult. A little bit of turn out of Buhr. Can it fight back fast enough? And it does. He finds himself similar spot to Burridge, but just a little cleaner of a stance.
Very bright green disc stands out a lot here. This is, yeah, that is a fantastic shot. He moves to the right a little bit. That's going to open up another forehand if he wants it around that outside, or he'll have other options as well.
4 for 4 on the forehand choice here. Very common play for the right-hand player.
Yeah, there's a tree kind of on the left side of the tee that makes it difficult for that backhand. Kind of pinches you off, makes you throw a very steep hyzer.
And I feel like whether you pure the forehand or put a little too much hyzer on it, you can kind of filter to multiple different birdie landing zones possibly. Sullivan, well played on that outside gap. I think that's probably the widest gap over there to the left side.
You know, I think he kind of cut between the two. I saw 3 players on my card actually do that yesterday. Start in the early right gap and then end up around the outside, which apparently there's a line there. I didn't really see it, but...
And Robert's disc was so overstable there. Came out flex, quickly fought out, but one skinny tree kept him from getting into the circle.
Oh, and Gannon, there's one tree as you enter that outside hyzer gap, and he catches it.
Joe lining up the dead straight line that leads you right to the basket.
Wow,
He
that is
cures it.
the tightest gap that you have, and he's going to tap the pole.
Well thrown,
on the way to
Joey Buckets.
A very well done birdie. Nice bounce back there.
Maybe that'll be the shot that kind of gets Joseph into gear here, you know, feeling those nerves. He told me he was going to feel the nerves all day after round 1, and I told him, good, you know, you should feel the nerves here. You care, you're a good player, and you want to win. And I think he's definitely learning a lot of lessons today, I'm sure.
Yeah, difficult to not feel the nerves. It's just about controlling them, making sure you don't let them take over your thoughts.
Yeah, keep your routine. Make sure to breathe. Really let those eyes do the talking. Keep them on target. Burridge, his first circle 1 miss of the round. Buhr makes good for his par.
Sullivan was in a pretty tricky position, but he is going to convert here to get his bounce back as well. Get him back to 3 under par.
Sullivan tiptoeing down that hill after his birdie. It was bad, I know you guys.
This brings us to hole 6, a 588-foot par 4 placement on the first shot. Very difficult to skip left and get into this gap, which I don't think you really should want to do anyway. You've got a downhill slope that's going to make your footing a bit difficult. So you want to land somewhere in this area right here, where if you have it flex forehand, you want to stay just slightly short of straight on this gap, so you can flex a little forehand down. If you have a straight shot, it doesn't really play well for the ground that you have here as it slopes down right to left to get to the end of it.
Yeah, I think this hole's playing really well for the distance and the shape.
You've got maybe 15 feet up here of where you want to land. That's push. So he's got more of a backhand flex shot, which is going to be harder to land close. That's more of a play to 20 feet left at minimum maybe.
Yeah, he's just on the long side of that landing zone. If you can put it 2 meters shorter like Sullivan, now he'll have that straight or even a bit of a hyzer release.
Yeah, it's interesting how a couple feet changed the second shot so much.
Robert, a lot more width and height. Looks like he is trying to skip into the gap there and gonna be pinched. Probably another backhand flex shot from there.
Yeah, almost got a nice roll back in, but might be pushed just a tad long.
Gannon plays similar width and height. Let's see how his speed is. It's a little bit slower, and he curls it just a bit more. Everyone has a difficult shot in for birdie, though.
Yeah, so this is what I think is best. And he has
100%.
done it
Oh my
nicely.
God.
Almost catches some metal on the way by. Shadows on the basket.
Yeah, nearly skipped into that band there. It really suits the flex forehand nicely if you're on the short side of this landing zone. Hard to not have some kind of a flex on this second shot, and that's what makes it so difficult. Joe playing that straight pink disc again to perfection, and like you said, that ground wants to lead him away, but that was a fortunate tree hit.
Yeah, nice backstop on the tree there. Looked like it had enough speed to push to circle 2, but he should stay 25 feet or so. Too much flex.
Robert playing a beautiful flex. Obviously, the disc was going to lead him away from the basket, but honestly, just to get to there is kind of a win for how pinched he was.
Yeah, missed release too. Had pulled it early, so sweet.
Yeah. Gannon, really well thrown
Wow.
here. That is a masterful shot, you guys. He might have made it look easy, but I promise you guys, that is a high difficulty shot.
Yeah, he was close enough to be able to use a putter there. That is going to be what kept him close to the basket, able to throw something slow enough that doesn't really have fade. Mm-hmm. Incredible shot.
Like Sullivan has a very unique kind of putting style. Doesn't have a lot of drawback. Just kind of brings it back a little bit. Fires from the hip or from the waistline, and he gets good pop on it. 5 birdies through 6 holes. Sullivan's moving.
And buckets.
Yeah, Joe comes in
Back to back.
very heavy hyzer, but he's got good pace and he's got good nose control. I would like to see him kind of flatten his wing angle up throughout his career, though. I think it'll give him less bad reactions on the baskets here and there and less rollaways and stuff like that.
Yeah, he just needs to play DDO or a couple windy events a couple times, and it'll start to get flatter.
I 100% agree. My putt has changed over my years on the tour and is now pretty flat. Just more repeatable in all the conditions, and I think the more you can get to that spot of just playing the same angles, same shots as much as you can, better it's going to be.
Yeah, so those back-to-back birdies putting Joseph Anderson back out front by a couple strokes.
Hole 7. One of the more polished holes on the course, par 3, 411 feet. First 2/3 of this hole are pretty clean. Play something straight. Ideally for the right-hand backhand player, you want to push it just a little bit to the right and maybe get the fade back left as a bonus. This stand of 4 trees here at the end in the middle that we're about to fly left of kind of makes it a bit of a dice roll. You kind of throw your shape, and whether you get past these ones or not, it's hard to do. I think playing to the right side edge of the circle is the clean way to play this hole, but it's really close to being a great hole.
Just a little bit too much turn on this one, but what a kick. He's going to be 70 feet or so rather than halfway down the fairway.
Yeah, if he kicked right, similar distance to that, he would have found that out of bounds. That is
And
on
this
both sides of this.
Could be in trouble of that out of bounds.
Oh, yeah, and it looks to be on that path out of bounds. Looked like maybe a mid-range out of Sully, just a little bit too high.
Right. I'm surprised that mid-range still went back that far left.
Gannon also playing mid.
Wow.
This thing is going dead straight. Can he beat the trees? Wow, Nathan. He just parked it with a mid.
I wish, man.
Impressive power. Impressive angle control.
So one of the points I was about to talk about is how you want to throw a fairway instead of a driver so you don't skip left, but
Oh, whoa. Robert.
I guess you want to throw a mid-range.
It will mitigate that fade at the end of the flight, and if you got the stuff, flaunt it.
All right, guys, there's a new level now. You've got to learn to throw a mid-range 400 controlled.
Dude, after the preserve, I'm convinced. I was throwing my mids 400. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm here for it.
All right, I guess that's my...
As long as there's no ceiling
330
restrictions. As long as there's no ceiling restrictions, that's the key.
Coming up just a bit short left for Anderson there. Understandable, quite a long putt. So coming back for par now.
Oh, Tipton, strong in the left side. A little bit of hyzer just cuts straight through. That he kind of got robbed there. Definitely got robbed.
Yeah.
You had a little
height,
height, but it wasn't that much.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I definitely know the feeling. I putted with Star AVRs for a while for some reason. It took me a while to get off of it. And I also had a hyzer, so I saw that happen to myself a pretty good amount early on in the career, but it is very annoying.
For those of you at home still putting your premium putters, I think while you may feel comfortable, and even if it only catches on the chains 2% better, why not? That's 2 more putts you might make out of 100.
Gannon Buhr, back-to-back birdies with the mid-range park job.
Buhr and Burridge, only clean players on the card so far.
Brings us into hole 8, one of the tightest, maybe the tightest? No, I think 17 is slightly tighter, but one of the tightest gaps that you have to hit on the course to get out, and it's difficult to get much distance. If you can get past this FPO pin by 50 feet or so, it's really going to open up your play to get a birdie. If you can move right towards the OB line, that could help as well, but with how tight the gap is, it's difficult to do so. If you land similar distance to the FPO pin, you're going to have somewhere above 400 feet to approach this green. It is blind. You've got to throw uphill, so it's difficult to get that nose angle where you don't go too far up.
Gannon gets through the gap with the driver forehand flex. Oh, Joseph, little weight out of the hand.
Nice roll out there to get back to the center of the fairway.
Yeah, equidistance, kick left. Could have taken an extra stroke from him. Robert, very low screaming forehand. Squeezes past that last tree, framing the left side of the gap.
Yeah, going to be in a similar spot to Gannon, both probably 415 feet or so from the basket.
And Robert has a ultimate background, so you see a lot of kind of air bouncy style from him and a lot of that kind of ultimate style swing, but he really makes it work. Sullivan dead straight out of the gap. Still has not parred yet.
Oh, and he definitely is going to want that one back. I'm sure he wanted to get a little bit higher on the hill so he could have a better opportunity to get the par. He's still pretty far back now.
Yeah, it's hard to get a lot out of your legs on this uphill run up here. And this is a green that is hairy. You'd rather be a little bit short here, taking a putt, and a little bit too long. And watch out, camera crew. Put your helmets on.
Whoa. Oh, and Sullivan. I'm surprised to see forehand here. But I guess if you've got...
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no.
Long OB. What a power.
I forgot about that OB. If you have that much power with the forehand, then I guess that's why you throw it.
I guess if you just throw a 475-foot straight forehand, you might find OB long, but that's a kind of a luxurious problem, Sullivan.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I was going to say it's easier to fade back out into the OB short with the forehand when you catch that nose angle up too much.
I want to say he probably elected for it because of how difficult the backhand run-up is. With the forehand, you can kind of just run straight up the hill and jam the disc. The backhand's a lot more of a dance when you're running uphill.
Gannon has tons of power, but like I said, gets that nose up, trying to go up that hill, and he's going to fade pretty far back out. And
everybody in danger here.
Yeah, you can kind of throw at it from there, but you're risking getting underneath these branches if you run it too hard.
Ooh, Sullivan felt decent about his little run. I mean, like Nathan said, there's a couple of spots on the screen. You can be 20 to 25 feet away and literally not have a putt. And the amount of pop he can get out of a standstill is just ridiculous.
If I did that same motion, I would have made it to like edge
of circle. 38-footer.
Yeah. And a pretty nice bid from Robert, too, unable to really see the basket. This played as the second hardest hole on the course today. 4.43, just 11 birdies.
Yeah, just a really elusive one to get.
And I'll go ahead and brag. I couldn't reach this hole until yesterday. I was able to get it.
At Tournament Juice. Let's go, Nathan. How'd you play it? What discs?
Beat-in Wraith to very beat-in Wraith.
Wraith out of the gap. That's aggressive, and I like it. But you really got to climb that hill, and I think the more the week goes on, I'm seeing more and more players reach for those drivers. They are realizing that it helps them keep the disc up and get there a little faster. And here we are. Final hole of the front 9 is going to be another tight gap shot. We have these telephone poles showing their face once again. These ones aren't really going to come into play here, though. It's the second part of the gap, like Nathan mentioned yesterday, that really ratchets down on this shot. If you can beat either of these 2 tree trunks we're flying in between here, you're likely going to find yourself with some kind of a long putt. You'll see some players kind of jam it low, trying to get this mulchy skip up because this low ceiling really makes it difficult to air it into the circle. Other players will try to just thread that height though and get it somewhere up there for a putt. You'll see forehands and backhands here.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of players really are more comfortable hitting gaps with a forehand since you can look at it the entire time.
Yeah, I think inherently too, the forehand just is better at low ceiling shots. It comes out a little bit lower out of the body. And Robert, another shot that squeezes through a gap, and
He's
huge
got
skip.
some stable discs.
He really does.
Some overstable discs.
Yeah, Robert's big on flexing the discs around. And this is that same mid-range we've seen Joe throw a lot. I believe a Cox Z, possibly. Yeah, he sneaks through to a
Yeah,
long
there's
putt.
not a gap over there. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, there's a disc can fit through the left side about in 2 spots, and he found one of them. Oh, and Sully just gets no skip off of that mulch.
Just a little bit nose down. Probably caught a few chips above it and just kept it from getting that skip. A little bit of right to left here. Gonna pick up his putt.
Joey Bucket's at the crowd, and he glances.
And it just kept it up just a bit too long. Man, that was a good putt, though.
Yeah, committed bid, just all that hyzer in the wind just kind of pushed it through the left chains. Just didn't really get into it.
Yeah, what a putt from Sullivan Tipton.
Sullivan still parless on the front. 3 down, 6 birdies, 3 bogeys. He is here to play aggressive.
Yeah, what a ride. I was talking yesterday about how I thought I was on a disc golf course, not a roller coaster, and I think a lot of players might feel that way out here at Bad Rock Creek.
Absolutely. It's one of those courses that mentally just puts you through it on pretty much every shot, every hole.
Gannon Buhr, clean 5 down on the front 9. What a start. Had some bogeys on the front yesterday and cleaned that up quickly.
Yeah, if Gannon's taking par as mistakes, he's going to find birdies, and he's going to give himself a solid score. Him and Burridge both clean on the front.
Yeah, Burridge right there with him with that 4 under par, also clean. This course is
Somebody's
Getting-
birthday, apparently.
increasingly fun to watch, I believe.
I agree. I think as we've seen the course more and more, we're seeing the difficulty of it show. And I think it does a really good job of testing players' mental and physical abilities out here.
Yeah, make sure you stay on the fairway. Joseph Anderson just hanging on at the moment. Gannon Buhr, Evan Scott making a nice push. Jake Hiebenheimer also having a hot round down there, 6 down.
Yeah, we know Evan can hit some gaps and make some big putts. It's a tight leaderboard, and we have 9 holes to play here on Moving Day.
For Connor O'Reilly, I'm Nathan Queen. We'll catch you on the back 9.